Hi guys, it's Deb here. Thanks for joining me. As requested, I had a few of you wanting to know how I created these ornaments of my granddaughters. And this was for the YouTube Hop, the 12 Days of Christmas, hosted by Rosa Kelly. And I did these on day 2. So you can always look back at the video, the original video, on my YouTube channel, okay? So, and I will have the link down below as well. So I just wanted to go ahead and give you a little bit of background before we get started. These were the little bulbs that I used, and the bulbs that I used were some regular bulbs that are clear and plastic, and I made a little sign to attach to it. It's just a little phrase, and it just says like how they grow, and you know the ribbon inside shows you what size they are. And I just thought it was a really super cute idea, and my mom had sent me this idea, and I just went ahead and added to this idea by decorating the bulbs and using, like I said, the original bulb was a plastic bulb with a little cap on top of it. And then the other bulb that I used was a bulb that you get like from the dollar store or from Walmart, that actually fits together. It comes in 2 pieces, so it comes apart. So, but I'm going to go ahead and put the little blurb or the little phrase that I wrote out. I'll put that down below for you, and so you can print it off, or you could add to it, or you could just make up your own if you'd like. So I'm going to go ahead, and from here I'm going to show you what I used and how I did these beautiful and cute little bulbs. One more thing before I go. I wanted to let you know I am going to be doing a voiceover because the voice, for some reason, did not record on the tutorial, or it like disappeared. It got deleted. So I will be doing a voiceover the best I can and showing you how I did the bulbs, okay? Okay guys, so what I did is I just printed off 3 small photos of each of my granddaughters, okay? And then we will go ahead and cut those in circles and stick those inside of the bulbs. And then I cut out 3 of the little verses that I wrote, or 4 for each one of my bulbs. This is the bulb that I was talking about, how it comes in 2 pieces, and that was in my stash. I don't know where I got those from. I think I got them either from Michael's, maybe Hobby Lobby, or Walmart. I'm not sure where I got them from. But I have 2 sizes. I have a large one and then a smaller size, and they just come apart and then they hook back on together. They like have a ridge that snaps together. So those are the 2 that I used for 2 pictures, and then the other ones were bulbs that have the little prongs inside of the cap. So that's the one that you're going to have to cut, okay? And I show you how to do that. So it is very hard plastic, so be careful when you cut this one, okay? So now we're going to go ahead and get started. So here is where I took one of my photos, and I went ahead and cut it a circle so it would fit inside of the bulb. And I just cut it, I kind of measured it to the bulb a little bit and just cut it like smaller, a few, you know, inches smaller than the bulb, so it would fit inside of there. And then I took some of my scrap pieces of paper and I went ahead and put those behind the photo, and I went ahead and also decorated back there. I thought it would be cute to kind of just add a couple of little stickers from the sticker sheets that I had extra in my stash. So that's a good way to use some of your little paper scraps that you have, so that way your picture's just not plain in the back. So I just thought that would be kind of cute, and you know, give it a little bit of you know, decoration on the back of the picture. And then on my, for my little sentiment there, what I wrote out to go with the bulbs, I went ahead and used my die, and then I cut out the verses with my die, and then I went ahead and put my die on the paper, traced around the paper, so that way it would be maybe a half inch or like an eighth of an inch, quarter inch bigger than my little die cut from my paper. So that way it would fit together really nicely and have a border around that. So that's how I did that. And here I'm just going to go ahead and put that tape. I'm just using Tombow tape. I didn't want to use my art glitter glue. So I just used my Tombow tape to prepare my paper and go ahead and stick that on top of my border paper there. Okay. Yeah, I thought it turned out pretty nice. So I liked how it looked. So I did that for all of the little sentiments that I did there for that little saying that I wrote out. Okay, so then here we're going to go ahead. I went ahead and measured all of my granddaughters, and I wrote their names, their date of birth, or no, I wrote their names and their age, and then the month and year I measured them. So it would be December 2019. And then I measured each one of them with a different ribbon and cut it to their size. And then I just folded it up or rolled it up and put it inside of each ornament. So each child has the size that they were during that year. And I thought that was a pretty cute idea. So so that's what we're going to do. So that one right there is Remini's. So I'm just going to grab her little bulb and stick that right in there. Okay, so for here I'm talking a little bit about how you can cut your pictures out. And I used two different types of punches, circle punches. Okay, I used a 3, and I think the other one was a 2.5. You can use whatever size you would like to punch out your pictures to fit them into your ornaments. Okay, you can also just use a circle from a cap or whatever to cut, trace and then cut them out. However, you want to do that. And now we're just going to go ahead and prepare to cut open this little ornament with the prongs on it. So here I'm taking off the prong, okay? And I have a really sharp pair of scissors. Those scissors are actually for kitchen use. They are Pampered Chef scissors, so they're very durable, very strong. I also used my Tim Holtz scissors as well, okay? And there is a little like seam in there. So what I did was I took that, and that's where I started cutting at, is I just started cutting right on the seam, right there at the top of that little nib there. The nib is the hardest part to get through because it's the thickest of the ornament, okay? And actually, for some reason, the Tim Holtz scissors worked really super good to cut that through. And but then once you get past that little hard part of that top part of the little nib there, the rest of it is super easy. The bulb just really cuts pretty easy down the seam. There's no problem. So, but just be careful, okay? I don't want anybody to get injured or anything. I really had a good hold of the ball so it wouldn't slip out of my hands or anything. As you go towards the end or the middle part of the bulb, it does get a little bit hard again, so you cannot go all the way through the end and make it crack open, kind of like an egg, or spread apart, I should say. So you kind of have to pry it open on your own. But I would not suggest cutting it all the way through. I would just cut it to like where it wants to stop. and then and you'll see how I go ahead and open it up and put my things inside and such. Okay. So there I'm stopped, and now I'm just kind of, you know, bringing it apart a little bit to show you that it does open up. Okay, and like I said, you just have to work at it a little bit. There may be some little strips or strings kind of like poking through, and you can definitely cut those off of the ornament. It's not going to hurt it. So, and here I'm just trying to get through a little bit more to the middle part of the ornament. But like I said, you don't want to cut all the way through like the other one is, okay? Where it spreads completely apart. Okay. So, like see that little piece right there, you can go ahead and just cut those off. And it does work pretty good. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and get started on cutting out our photos. And I'm just going to grab my little photo there. And that is my granddaughter, Giovanna. And I'm going to use my punch to cut her photo out. But I'm going to need to cut the photo down before I punch out the picture. So that's what I'm doing here. And now I can go ahead and just punch her photo out. There we go. And then from here, I go ahead and I'm going to back it up with some design paper and kind of put some stickers on it and just kind of jazz it up a bit. So here's where I grabbed Giovanna's ribbon and I went ahead and just kind of rolled it up a little bit so I could fit it inside of the ornament. And I just kind of roll it up, and I think I might have used some paper clips to kind of keep it closed, but I don't remember. I might have taken it back out and did that later. But here I just went ahead and stuffed that in there and then stuck the picture inside of there just like that. And I just made sure that the picture fit right on the edges of the inside of the ornament so it would close really nice. And I just made sure everything, that the ribbon was inside and wasn't sticking out and all that kind of stuff. So just made sure that it was in there nice and tight. Here's where I grabbed the little cap to the ornament and I just fit it right over the little nib, and so it would close nicely. And then just make sure that everything was in there nice and good. Now here's where I grabbed my art glitter glue, and you can use your hot glue if you want to. I just went ahead and went around, not directly onto the seam of where we cut, but like right beside the area we cut, so that way it wasn't going to close. So if they wanted to, once they pull off the top, they can open it up. If you glue where you cut, then they're not going to be able to get that opened. So I went ahead and glued close to that little seam and put my ribbon around that area. However, I did want them to be able to pull the ribbon through the top if they needed to. So I did go ahead and take apart what I put on there, that red ribbon there, and I went ahead and decided to kind of stick the ribbon, take the ribbon out, and I kind of poked it through or left enough out up on top of the nib so that way they could pull the ribbon out if they wanted to. Okay, so I went ahead and just opened it up, okay, and kind of cracked it open with one hand and spread it apart, took out the picture and the ribbon. I'm going to put the picture back inside, and I'm going to make sure that it's kind of on one side of the bulb, okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the ribbon. I left a little bit of the end out, and you'll see here, you could see the little end part of the ribbon, and as I'm closing the bulb, okay, I have that little piece, and I went ahead and used tweezers to help me kind of just make sure that the ribbons stayed inside, okay, and just kind of helped me pull that ribbon through as well. So I went ahead and just left a little piece hanging out up on top so that way it would not be all the way inside of there, so they could pull it out if they wanted to. You know, at some point, maybe this Christmas they'll want to pull it out, or maybe next, or maybe they'll wait a few years, and then they can go ahead, take off the top part and pull that ribbon out. And they could always just stick it back in there too. Then I grabbed the nib, and now I'm just going to stick that right over on top of there. Now the nibs on here are not still, they're not, you know, they're like a really flexible metal, so they're not hard. So I was having a little bit of trouble with it because it kept bending, and I was having some issues with the little ends bending inward. So, but I did and eventually get it. So I just used my tweezers to kind of help me unbend the little metal part. So, okay, so once I got it on, it was pretty good. So it wouldn't come off, and so I was pretty happy with how it looked so far. So you could see the little picture inside. So next what I did was, because the glue really wasn't sticking and I didn't really want to use hot glue, I used my score tape. So I did go ahead and use the score tape around here. Now, I didn't use the hot glue. I just didn't want to take a chance on anything melting. So, but you could use hot glue because I used it for a few of my other ones later. And I just felt that the score tape, or the double-sided tape, just was perfect for what I needed it for, and that was to hold onto the ribbons that I would be mounting on the sides or around the edge of the bulb. So I just went ahead and burnished in the tape, making sure that it was going to stick on, and I went ahead and again I just mounted it a little close to the seam, not directly onto the seam. Okay, so I went ahead and I'm going to remove my backing, and then I went ahead and just mounted on my ribbon there. And look at how cute that looks. It turned out so cute. I am pretty happy with how these were turning out. So I just grabbed some silver cord that I had in my stash, and I just cut off probably, I want to say, just a snippet, and I just tied it to the top of the bulb. And yeah, so I mean, and you can use whatever you would like. If you want to use that, or you have yarn, string, seam binding, ribbon, or whatever you would like, you can definitely use anything to string through there to hang on your tree. So I really was happy how this was turning out, and I really liked using these bulbs. These were so neat. Okay, so now I'm just decorating the sides of the bulb. So I'm just adding little snowman figurines that I had in my stash. And I can't remember, I think I want to say I got those from the dollar store maybe last year. Or I might have even picked them up over at Hobby Lobby. I don't remember. So, a lot of the stuff I had in my stash since last year. So I don't remember where I got it from. But I'm just using my hot glue gun to attach the little snowman on the sides of the ribbon. Okay, so next we're going to go ahead and attach the little message that I wrote. And I'm just getting my punch and my hole punch, and I'm just going to punch a hole right on the side there. I mean, you can punch it wherever you want. And then I think I did use an eyelet to go ahead and place in there, so that way the paper wouldn't rip and it would have a good hold on there. And so I'm just going to go ahead and attach all of that on there, and I will fast forward. So our little bulb turned out pretty cute, huh? so right now what I'm doing is I am just adding the little tag to the bulb, and I did add some bells to the tags later, and I thought it just gave it a really cute little touch, little festive touch, as well as using some of the other little items that I had in my stash, like using tinsel or, poinsettias or any little tiny, snowman figurines or Santa figurines or anything like that. You can definitely add those to your bulb. And as for decorating the other bulb that has the ridges on it that comes apart and then can be put back together, you want to go ahead and decorate that the same way. Just make sure that you do not place your tape on the seams of those bulbs that come apart, okay? Otherwise, you may not be able to take them apart to get the ribbons out for measuring the kids. So I hope that you enjoyed these videos. I hope that this helps you and gives you some inspiration on decorating some bulbs for your kiddos. And thank you so much for joining me. I hope you all have a Merry Christmas, and you all take care. Bye!